Today, we're going deep underground to tell the story of one of humanity's greatest engineering feats. This is about how we took on a mountain that for centuries was thought to be completely unbeatable.
I mean, think about that question. For literally centuries, the Alps stood like a giant wall, cutting Europe right in half. It was a beautiful but absolutely brutal barrier for anyone trying to trade or travel. The real problem wasn't just how to get from one side to the other, it was how you tame nature itself.
For hundreds of years, the only option was to go over the mountains, and that meant slow, dangerous, winding roads where you were always at the mercy of sudden snowstorms and deadly avalanches. It was a total bottleneck. But then, a few engineers came up with a truly radical idea. Instead of climbing over the mountain, what if they went straight through it, carving a flat, direct, high-speed artery deep beneath the peaks?
Now, this wasn't just any old tunnel. This was the Gotthard Base Tunnel, a project so huge, so ambitious, its scale is honestly hard to wrap your head around. It was basically a declaration of war against the mountain.
First, let's just talk about the sheer length of this thing, 57 kilometers. To this day, that makes it the longest railway tunnel on the entire planet. Just try to imagine being on a train deep inside solid rock for that entire journey.
And if that number wasn't staggering enough for you, get this. At its deepest point, the tunnel is 2.5 kilometers straight down from the mountain peaks above. So this isn't just the longest tunnel, it's also the deepest one ever built.
But here's the thing, when you dig that deep, you're not just fighting rock anymore. You're entering a hostile, almost alien world. You're facing forces of nature so extreme that a lot of experts thought the whole project was completely impossible. They were about to come face to face with 3 deadly monsters. The first was the unbelievable, crushing pressure of the mountain itself. The second was a hellish underground heat. And the third, and maybe the most terrifying of all, was the threat of explosive, high-pressure water.
So monster number 1, the pressure. We're talking about millions of tons of rock pushing down from every single direction. The geological force was so intense that the mountain would actively try to squeeze the tunnel shut as they were digging it, powerful enough to buckle solid steel and concrete like it was just paper.
The second monster they had to face was the heat. See, this deep inside the Earth, the rock itself just radiates this intense geothermal energy. It pushed temperatures up to a suffocating 50 degrees Celsius. That's 122 Fahrenheit. It wasn't a construction site, it was an oven. A place where a person could barely even survive.
But the most unpredictable enemy was the water. It had been trapped for thousands of years inside cracks in the rock, and it was under unimaginable pressure. We're talking up to 2,900 psi. One wrong move, one single breach, and that water could erupt with the force of a cannonball, blasting through walls and flooding the entire tunnel in an instant.
So, with the mountain fighting back with crushing pressure, hellish heat, and explosive water, how did humanity respond? Well, we responded with a 17-year-long battle fought in a subterranean world with no sunlight, no fresh air, and absolutely no easy way out.
Looking at the timeline really gives you a sense of the sheer endurance this took. The project was officially approved way back in 1992, and it didn't open until 2016. It spanned decades. But the real heart of the battle was those 17 years of grueling construction that started in 1993.
And who fought this war? At any given time, there was an underground army of 2,600 workers, miners, engineers, geologists, all of them living and working deep inside the mountain, fighting for every single meter of progress.
Their main weapon was a mechanical beast, the tunnel boring machine, or TBM. And honestly, to call this thing a drill is a massive understatement. This was a 450-meter-long factory on wheels. One of them, nicknamed Sissy, had a spinning cutter head that was taller than a 2-story house. But even with all that power, the mountain would only give up a few meters each day.
The sheer amount of rock they pulled out of there is it's hard to even comprehend. Nearly 30 million tons of rock were excavated from the heart of the Alps. To put that into perspective for you, that is enough rock to build the Great Pyramid of Giza 5 times over.
So after years and years of battling heat and pressure and water,
After removing millions of tons of rock, the project came down to its most critical moment. A single moment of truth that would decide if this whole 17-year effort was a triumph or a catastrophic failure.
Two teams had been digging from opposite ends of the mountain. They were completely blind to each other, guided only by GPS and lasers. On October 15, 2010, the whole world was watching. After all that time, after digging through 57 kilometers of solid rock, would they actually meet in the middle? And then, breakthrough. The giant cutter head of the TBM burst through the final wall of rock. And when they took the measurements, the two tunnels were misaligned by a mere half-inch. It was an act of almost unbelievable precision. It's like threading a needle from 50 kilometers away.
The mountain was conquered. The physical battle was won. You'd think that'd be the end of it. But there was one last enemy waiting for them, an invisible force that could have destroyed the entire project on the very first day it opened.
It's something called the piston effect. See, a high-speed train entering a long, tight tunnel acts just like a piston in a cylinder. It compresses all the air in front of it, creating this powerful shockwave that travels at the speed of sound, a force so strong it could shatter the train's own windows.
This right here is where you see the true genius of the engineers. They saw this invisible threat coming. So instead of building one huge tunnel, they built two smaller parallel ones. And they connected them with these cross passages every few hundred meters. So when a train enters one tunnel, the compressed air just escapes into the other one, and the shockwave safely disappears. It was a simple, elegant, and totally life-saving solution.
But this marvel of engineering came at an immense cost. 17 years of relentless work, the sweat and grit of 2,600 people, and a final bill of over $12.5 billion. It was a monumental investment by any measure.
But there was also a price that you can't measure in dollars or years. And that's the human cost. 9 workers lost their lives building this tunnel. Their names are immortalized on a memorial at the tunnel's entrance, a solemn reminder of the ultimate sacrifice that was made in the name of progress.
The Gotthard Base Tunnel stands today as a monument to what humanity can achieve. A flat, fast route carved straight through an impossible mountain. But it leaves us with one final, very important question to think about. What really is the true price of progress?
Thank you for watching this incredible story. Please like and share for more amazing videos.